What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the show, to another episode of Seahawks Now. Guys, let's get into this today. We have some interesting rumors to talk about. First off, TJ Watt, is he available? And if he is, should the Seahawks make the trade? Plus, we ask the question, who is the quarterback 2 on the Seattle Seahawks in 2025? Is it Drew Lock or is it going to be Jaylen Milroe? Finally, we discuss where the Seattle Seahawks wide receiver room ranks in the NFL in 2025. All that and more right here today on Seahawks Now. But first, if you like what you see, make sure you hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. And as always, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another breaking news alert. All right, guys, let's get into it. Starting with TJ Watt. This is the big rumor of the morning right now. TJ Watt could be available. The Steelers are trying to get him under a new contract, but a lot of people believe that that contract's not going to happen. A lot of people believe that TJ Watt might not want to be there. For some reason, the analysts seem to think so. A lot of the kind of trade rumor sites are really starting to push out this TJ Watt trade rumors. And what I have to say is good. I mean, that's good for the Seahawks. When good players come available, that is a good thing. Now, the latest rumors don't show any indication about what the Seahawks are going to do, but according to sources on ESPN, multiple teams are mulling trade offers. That probably has to do with the fact that the Steelers just traded away Minkah Fitzpatrick to get Jalen Ramsey in a trade that I think was questionable for the Steelers. I think a lot of people aren't sure if that was even a fair trade or not. And now TJ Watt just skipped their recent minicamp. So yeah, there's definitely maybe a little bit of drama there, and there's definitely some reason to think about what's going on behind the scenes here, right? What is going on behind the scenes? The Steelers, to their credit, they do say that they want to re-sign him. They say they want him to finish his career in Pittsburgh. But at the same time, why is he skipping OTAs? Why is he skipping minicamp? Last year, 3 years ago in 2021, he signed a $112 million deal. But Myles Garrett recently reset the pass rush market with a record deal with $40 million annual average value. So that is about $12 million more than what Watt is getting. Watt's at $28 million right now per year, and Myles Garrett, who I think is about the same level as him, is getting $40 million. So $40 and $28 million, that's a pretty big difference. TJ Watt, obviously, he does turn 31 this year in October, but it sounds like he definitely wants to get paid like Myles Garrett. He has more sacks in his career than Garrett. 4-time All-Pro. He was 2021 Defensive Player of the Year. And across his 8 years in Pittsburgh, he's probably been the biggest reason for their success post-Ben Roethlisberger. Now, behind the steel curtain, a Steelers blog, they say enough, the Steelers aren't trading him. They talk about how they don't believe the Steelers would be wise to trade him. They don't think it's going to happen. He thinks that they will agree to a deal and they will go forward being all in 2025. But that's obviously because he's a Steelers fan. And now, the truth is, there are teams that are thinking about mulling for offers. There's a reason why ESPN is writing these articles, right? ESPN is smart. They're good journalists. They would not be writing these articles if there wasn't actually a little bit of a fire here. Obviously, where there's smoke, there is a fire, and that doesn't always mean the guy's going to get traded. Right, it doesn't always mean that, but in the Seahawks case, lately it kind of has. I mean, you look at DK Metcalf, Russell Wilson, Geno Smith even. Those are guys who we heard rumors about for a while, and then they actually did get traded. And a lot of the time, that is what's happening, right? Players are pushing these trade rumors. Their agents are pushing these rumors because they don't want to be there. They want the new contract. And when ESPN and CBS are reporting on it, you know that it's actually at least somewhat legit. This is not just clickbait. Like, there's a realistic scenario where TJ Watt does get traded. And what I'm saying is, if he does get traded, I hope that he gets traded to the Seahawks. I mean, it would just make too much sense. The Seahawks could still upgrade on the pass rush. They could still upgrade on that defensive line. And if you're going to upgrade there, TJ Watt is probably the best possible upgrade at that spot. I think he takes your team from a great team to an elite team. I think he takes your defense from a great defense to an elite defense. And at the end of the day, right, that's all we're trying to do is have an elite team, have an elite defense. How can we do that? And in my opinion, the way to do that is to trade for TJ Watt. All right, let's move on, guys. Let's talk about who is the quarterback 2 in 2025. Is it going to be Jaylen Milroe or is it going to be Drew Lock? This is a question I see a lot on Seahawks Twitter, talking about whether Lock or Milroe gives the Seahawks a better chance as quarterback 2. At the end of the day, I honestly don't think it matters too much who your number 2 quarterback is. I think both Locke and Milroe bring certain things to the table. They both bring certain elements that, they have pros and cons. They have strengths and weaknesses. I personally would probably go with Drew Lock just because I'm not sold on Jalen Milroe as a passer. I think Jalen Milroe can definitely run the ball well, and I do think that he's probably going to get into games a couple times. He'll probably play at least a few snaps per game, maybe as the Wildcat, maybe coming in for kind of an RPO, or maybe just coming in to distract the defense. Maybe he doesn't even touch the ball, but you just bring him in to distract the defense. I think that could work. What I don't necessarily think is that if Sam Darnold gets hurt, I think Drew Lock is the guy that steps in and starts the next game. I don't think Jalen Milroe is at that point where he's ready to start NFL games yet if he is called upon. And again, we're going to find out a lot more about this when the preseason starts, when actual training camp begins. We'll see a lot more film, a lot more tape, a lot more practice reps, and we will get to see him play in the preseason. So when I think about that, I feel like, we'll definitely have some more to go off before we kind of make this final decision. And the truth is, it doesn't really matter that much. I mean, if Sam Darnold gets hurt, chances are your season's probably not going to go very well afterwards, because I don't think either of these guys, Milroe or Locke, are really going to be able to make a massive impact in 2025 as a starter. So at the end of the day, does it really matter? Probably not. But I still do right now. I think Drew Lock is better. I think he will be the QB2 on the depth chart, even if Milroe is the one who actually gets some in-game action. But I think if Darnold gets hurt, they would call on Drew Lock to start. All right, let's move on to my last topic of the day. Where does the Seahawks wide receiver room rank among the NFL? Yeah, the Seahawks have an interesting group of wide receivers. Obviously, JSN is really, really talented. Really, I would say he's elite. And then Cooper Kupp, who probably was elite. I don't know if he still is elite, but I would say he was elite back in, when the Rams were winning Super Bowls with him. I think that he was certainly elite at that point. And then after that, it's kind of a hot, it's kind of a hot mess. We've got Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I think he can be a decent option as your number 3 guy. He was good for the Saints last year, but he also drops a lot of passes. Then you got Torrey Horton from Colorado State, the rookie, who is definitely, he's kind of a project coming off an injury, but at the same time, he was really good last year for Colorado State. And then from there, it's kind of a mix of guys who you're not sure who else is going to be on the roster after that point. Jake Bobo, you assume, is going to be in the mix in some capacity, and we'll see about Ricky White out of UNLV. But it is kind of an interesting group. You're not necessarily sure. Steven Sims probably also gets the call. And we're thinking Derek Young maybe is playing a role. Cody White, those two might be practice squad guys, though, for all we know. Probably honestly, those two are probably on the practice squad. Yeah, ultimately, I think this is a pretty top-heavy receiver room. I mean, JSN is really good. He's probably among those top 10 or 15 guys. Cooper Kupp, I have trouble ranking him that highly because of the injury concerns there and the age, and he definitely did look a little bit slower last year. So he's probably in that top 50, maybe top 60, but I don't think I can put him in the top 40 receivers anymore. From there, MVS, I think, is kind of a toss-up. And then after that, I really don't know what to expect out of guys like Jake Bobo, Torrey Horton, Ricky White, Derek Young. So at the end of the day, I think this is a solid but not amazing wide receiver room. This is the type of receiver room where if JSN gets hurt, you're probably starting to question why we don't have a deeper room. And, maybe we should have kept Tyler Lockett. I don't know, but clearly it wasn't there with the financials. He goes to Tennessee. It's fine. But what that does mean is, I think JSN probably has to stay healthy. And I think Cooper Kupp definitely is going to have to bounce back from what he did last year with the Rams. Last year was kind of a down year for him, especially second half of the season. I would know he was on my fantasy team. He really struggled. So I would really like to see Cooper Kupp get back to at least being a solid, very productive wide receiver. Instead of, last year in the month of December, he caught I think he was averaging 20 yards per game. If Cooper Kupp averages anywhere around 20 yards per game, it's bad news for the Seahawks. So at the end of the day, I'm going to go with probably around the 17th, 18th best wide receiver room, maybe a little bit lower than that even, just because I think the depth is really just not there right now. And maybe Marquez Valdes-Scantling shocks me, maybe Torrey Horton. has a breakout season as a rookie, and in a couple of months, we're thinking in a completely different stratosphere here. All right, with that being all said, we're going to wrap this video up for today. As always, if you like what you see, hit that like button down below, subscribe to the channel for more content, hit the bell for notifications, and until next time, as always, go Seahawks. See you tomorrow.